Welcome everyone to another episode of the 1871 podcast with me, Mark Roach, and Johnny Hunt. Hello, Johnny.
Hey Mark, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. All
Good,
good.
good. And we're joined by a special guest, another guest joining us all the way from Australia in the following day. So delighted to welcome back as a guest, Lloyd Owusu. Hi, Lloyd. How are you?
Hi, Mochi. How are you, pal? Hi, Johnny. You all good?
Yeah, good, mate. Are you driving and talking, or are you?
Yeah, right. Oh, it's a bit naughty, but luckily I've got the phone. I've got the phone on the still, so
Yeah,
it's all
so
good, mate.
we'll be careful. We won't ask you difficult questions. We don't want you to get to your destination safely. So
Thank you.
yeah, so Lloyd, you're on your way to school, aren't you? Because you work at a school. So
Yeah, yeah. So I work at one of the top private schools in the country called Cranbrook.
Yeah.
Uh,
No.
uh,
Well.
uh,
so yeah, Lloyd's joined us all the way from Australia. So
yeah,
appreciate you
yeah.
joining us, Lloyd. And firstly, can you believe that you first joined Reading more than 20 years ago now?
See, when you look at it that way, it's mad, Rochi. Like 20 years ago, like more, like, it just feels like yesterday. The good
I
times
know.
that we had there, it just feels like it's mad, crazy, bro.
Yeah. And just thinking with your appearance coming up, we quite often sort of pick a theme, and I want to sort of run this past Johnny as well. That I think if you think of yourself as a football fan over many years, some of the
Mm.
players you remember the most are the strikers. So for me, Robin Friday was one of our most legendary strikers for his on and off the field antics. I don't know so much about you, Lloyd. I think it was mostly on the pitch,
Mm.
wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, going back to that fantastic season in the 80s, Trevor Senior, and then you had Jimmy Quinn and Stuart Lovell that great season, and then the
Mm.
likes Nicky Forster, Jamie Curriton, Kevin Doyle, Adam Lafondra. You remember the
Yeah.
strikers. Um, Johnny,
Mm.
first of all, I've got to ask Lloyd about the strikers he played with at Reading, but who stands out for you as your kind of most memorable player up front? And was it to do with the goals, do you think, or was it other things as well?
It's character, isn't it? I think. Lloyd was part of our development for a great club. And he didn't. He might have scored a goal against us uh, for another team, but we'll give him for that. That's okay. But it was a special time in football. I think that's the beauty of when Lloyd joined us, and it was you were part of a club that was growing and to be something different than we were, and you've been Brentford was the same. Um, yeah, it was a special time. Like obviously as Reading fans now, we're looking at the state of our club, and God knows what else is going to go happen. Geez, I'd given a 12th in the championship with a very nicely organised club with nice people like yourself playing for us as a bonus.
Yeah.
And Lloyd, for you, when you came in, who were the other forward players? And also, I want to ask you, did you look at them as competition, or was it just about focusing on what you could do and getting in the team and staying in the team?
Yeah, for me, it wasn't really. I never really sort of look at competition because I always believe my ability. So obviously, my main aspect of going to Reading was obviously hopefully get game time because I was I was at where was I before? I was at where was I before? When I came to
Sheffield
Reading.
Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday.
So yeah, yeah, thank you, but yeah, I was at Wednesday and then things were going pear shaped there, and we were even down in the division as well. So luckily, I got signed up by Steve Cox to come back up to the championship. So for me, that was just a nice part anyway to get back to the championship. I knew a lot of the team from Reading, obviously over the years with Brentford, had some great games against them. So I knew everyone, and they were very local, so mum and dad in Slough. But when I got there, you know what I mean, you had like with Skip, Vicky Forster, who's a top lad, Bad Savage was there, Dean Morgan,
That's some
were
names.
really the strikers. And then we signed Kit, and Kitty Cat come along and signed there. So yeah, we had some good forwards there, great guys. But like I said, with competition, I mean, there's always competition because you want to try and be in that start 11. But I never felt that I was under any pressure. All I knew, if I just done my own job, and that was obviously to score goals when I got the opportunity, you know what I mean, the proof's in the pudding, then very rare that you get taken out. So for myself, I believed in my ability, had some great games, and like I said, had some great strikers and some great teammates to play alongside.
And how much of it, Lloyd, was for you about your individual performance when you came in, and the balance with that, and you know, helping the team win? Would you like being completely honest? And
Yeah.
and it's not, you know, after a game, you'll see players come out and they'll say, "Oh, it's, you know, it's, the most important thing is for the team to do well." But as a striker, you do have to be a bit selfish. I mean, how much of it? How much of it was you wanted to score a goal, you wanted to do well, and how much of it was you wanted the team to win?
And that's a great question, to be fair, Roach, because I think mine was a slightly different sort of scenario. Because, like I said, I was at Sheffield Wednesday. I was actually in the League One I was actually on big money, and at Sheffield Wednesday, and the opportunity to come to Reading, playing the Championship was a fantastic opportunity for myself. And I needed to make sure that I could do well with Reading, just to try and get myself to facilitate a move permanently, so to be in the Championship and obviously to be back down south. And I believe I did all that. And I even signed it. I don't know, many people probably don't even know. I actually signed on much less money in the Championship than I was at Sheffield Wednesday. The players talk about how it's all about the money, but for me at the time, Rochi, it was about obviously trying to play as many games as I can. And at the end of the day, I always look at it. If you do well, regardless, the money will come later. You know, so for me, I just wanted to make sure I did enough to earn a contract with Reading, and luckily for myself, that happened. You know, so I ended up signing that 2.5-year deal, and then it worked well for me in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, you had some good times at Reading. You scored a few goals, but I would argue, Lloyd, that there's nothing quite as exciting talking about forward players as what you've got coming up, because you're going to be playing very soon alongside Ronald, the one and only Ronaldinho. So talk to us about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I've got some Brazilian friends here in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne, who a few of them actually played with Ronaldinho in Sao Paulo and have contact through that. So they're bringing him over for an exhibition game in Sydney and up on the Gold Coast. So the whole aim was to bring bring him over, have an exhibition sort of charity stroke game. But however, now Tim Cahill got involved as well. So the whole Football Association thought it would be a good idea to make it like a Ronaldinho 11 against Tim Cahill 11. And with the Tim Cahill 11, it's going to be like an ex-Matildas and ex-Socceroos players against so the Ronaldinho team is going to comprise of ex-Brazilians who played the A-League, of ex-pros as well, and a couple of obviously some good friends of his who actually play football. So yeah, it should be a nice little showcase. But like I said, just to get the opportunity to be alongside some legends. I mean, in our lifetime, probably Rochi's probably top 5 in our lifetime of players that we've actually witnessed. You know, so to be able to say that I've actually met him and been in the same change room as him and played with him, it's going to be a dream come true.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. And you're actually now you're head of discipline at a school. It sounds very grand and a bit scary for kids, if I could say. But
you should say that.
But we had quite recently, we had one of our young players got sent off, and the manager came out and was quite critical about 2 players. One had just broken into the first team, only 16 years old. And he was quite critical of him because he felt that they hadn't reacted well, and one of them got sent off. Is this head of discipline for people playing sport, or is it just kids in general?
Yeah, kids in general across the whole board. You know, from year 7 to 12. So my main role is to uphold the behaviours and appearance of the boys. I work alongside directors, students, and the heads of houses And I'm sort of like, you could say I'm the middleman between the boys and the teachers. So someone who they can relate, boys can relate to, and then because they know because I'm not a teacher per se, and they know where I've come from as well. I mean, we coming from the streets of Slough. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. A lot of these kids at the school Berkshire are very, very, very privileged kids. Like I'm talking super, super wealthy. So I give them a sense of reality, and they can just relate to that. So it's a great role, bit of mentorship and everything. So yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, everyone says I'm Mr. Owusu's a scary man, but it's not about being scared of me or anything. It's just about building a relationship with the boys. And once you build a relationship with the boys, I say it's easy. They believe you, they trust you, and then their behaviours improve just by that.
Yeah, and this relates to football, obviously, discipline. And you do see players who, they lose their discipline sometimes. I mean, looking back at your career as a player, do you think you were quite disciplined, or did you have a few moments looking back and you think, oh, not quite sure I should have done that?
Yeah, no, look, I was probably disciplined. I mean, in my English professional career over 15 years, I think I only got sent off twice. One was actually for Reading, away at Preston, which was a typical striker challenge. So a bit unfortunate, strikers don't have to really tackle, so a bit studs up. And then the other one I got sent off for Brentford, which I don't think 2 yellows. One should have not even been a yellow for sure. So yeah, and over the course of, I probably only got I don't think I probably only got a course of maybe 10 yellows in total, I think. So I think if you look at the discipline there, I think that's pretty good. So I think that, but also with my upbringing, Berkshire, the upbringing of mum and dad, it's all about respecting people, regardless on the field or off the field. So I think that was a major factor as well.
And how important do you think that is in the modern game? So the current Reading team, for example, I use that example. The manager was quite critical of two of the young players. How because the game's changed quite a lot in the 20 years since you first played for Reading. How important is it for the players to keep the discipline and everything else? Is that quite a challenge for them sometimes?
Yeah, it's a challenge because, like it's changed. Games involve those technology, with all this social media. So any little small thing gets scrutinised. Any little small thing any player does on and off the pitch, the rest of the world sees. Don't get us wrong. In our days, we had a little bit fun times here and there, but people didn't see it. Where nowadays, everything's like on a microscope. But on the flip side, I don't think there's enough in the game to help the younger players, because I feel like they get too much too soon. So to me, seeing on the outside and seeing on social media, all these youngsters get too much too soon. Like they think they've done it already. So they're I call it sort of big time Charlies. So there needs to be processes at clubs where I feel like maybe, for example, get ex-senior players who have been at the club, especially been associated with a club, bring them in as sort of mentors, ambassadors, and talk to these youth, the younger generation, and tell them this is what it's all about. And I think that will really help the youngsters of this world, like you say, that 16 to 20-year-olds, that sort of age range, and really, because they're still maturing. Their brain hasn't matured, But they need guidance. I believe if they have someone who can guide them, I think we'll see better results in regards to these youngsters trying to flaunt everything and showing off and this and that, and like I say, youngsters getting sent off when they're record tackles and they can stay on their feet, for example. So yeah, I think that needs to be points to the game, maybe.
I think, Johnny, coming to you now, I mentioned what happened with Ruben Sellers, and he was quite critical of Andre Garcia and Kelvin Ehibatiaman. But I think by and large, they are quite well disciplined, aren't they, the Reading side? It was just that obviously he didn't like the reaction to a tackle. But, the problem is not on the pitch, is it, Johnny? It's all off the pitch. And actually on the pitch, it's going quite well. The worries that we've got are about, is the manager going to stay and all that sort of stuff, really, isn't it? So it's interesting hearing Lloyd talk about discipline and that sort of thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, it's we, I think, I've not been in a change room at a football club. Lloyd has, and what goes off behind the scenes. I'm sure Lloyd could tell us 1,000 stories of stuff that we would never know as fans or players. That and we only see the people turn up on the game on the day and go, okay, they didn't do too well today. Do you know what I mean? Like Lloyd, you've been there. You've been part of a lot of clubs, and you must been affected by I was looking at your you had Ron Nodes, you've had Steve Coppell, some big characters in management.
Wally Downs.
Wally.
What's your thoughts about Wally Downs, Lloyd?
I mean, Martin Allen as well, I think, wasn't it?
Martin Allen as well.
Wally comes from the original crazy gangster, isn't he? So he was crazy himself, but Wally was great though. To be fair, Wally was a very respected guy. He really, as much as he was a nutter, he really took care of players, especially when my time as a small assistant coach. So at Berkshire and Benin, he really cares for his players, which I love. And that's he tell you 4,000 stories of what I could probably say back in his day, what was going on in the change rooms. But yeah, it's like I said, and like you said, and also, and I think what affects play as well, the off-field stuff that's happening at Reading, and even I've been involved in this kind of stuff when I was even at Cheltenham and Yeovil. You know what I mean? When the players aren't getting paid and people getting sacked and the commercial, it's just, you know what I mean? It does affect players as well, because you're all there as a family ideally, and when you see sort of this negative stuff happening off the field, it can affect you as a player individually as well.
Johnny, anything else you want to ask Lloyd about?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Lloyd, your career, you kind of didn't make it to in your, I would hope, the highest level.
Yeah.
Why was that for yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. We say, you know what, and I don't think it's ever a regret. I never regret anything in football, but to a certain degree, I feel like the year I left you guys in 2005, I still had another year left of my contract. But obviously, the gaffer brought in Doyle, and also Kitson was thriving hot as well. And Steve and respect the gaffer again. And I remember, and I'll go back to when I spoke to you guys before about money. So Coppell said to me, he said, Lloyd, next season I can't guarantee that you're going to play week in and week out. Me as an slightly older player, then for me again, it's all about me. I need to play regular football just to sort of keep myself going, keep myself insane. So he said, I can't guarantee you another year. So you're more than happy to look at other clubs. So I respected what he said. I respect Coppell massively. So I was like, you know, if I'm not guaranteed to play regularly, I've got to look at other places where I know I might most likely going to play. But when I look at it in hindsight, guys, it's strange because I believe if I'd stayed, that following season is when the boys got promoted. Firstly, anything could have happened with injuries, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I could have been in and out of the team. Because I look at Stephen Hunt. Stephen Hunt's a prime example. That season you guys went up, he didn't play every week. He wasn't playing in and out. But the following year, offered him a year contract, and then he played every single game in the Prem. So I believe because of I always look back, because of my relationship with Kopp to a certain degree, I feel like he would have maybe rewarded me with a year Premiership contract if I had stayed, potentially. So it's all in hindsight, but look, I don't regret it, you know. And to go back to your question, Johnny, in regards why didn't I really make it to a top level? I don't know. I guess I always believed in my ability. I could score goals. I mean, everywhere I went, I always scored. Whether it was coming off the bench or starting, I always scored goals. But I guess it's just a matter of timings and clubs looking for the certain striker and et cetera. So yeah. But like I said, look, I'm happy with when I look at my whole career. I played in the Championship at least, many games there, obviously League One, League Two, and I've played a few international games. So if you look at a collective as any schoolboy dream to say how you did as a footballer, I did all right, you know.
Did you ever go into management? Is something that you would ever go in? Sorry, Mark. I just one last one for about coaching and management. I know you went to one of the poshest schools in Sydney. I've lived around there. We had that conversation before, but would you? Is that something that you kind of go, not for me, or you just
Yeah, for me, Johnny, like coaching was always my next port of call after football, after playing. However, I've always seen myself as a middleman. I would always be like maybe assistant to someone. And don't get me wrong, I would still look to entertain that if it was right. I had a few opportunities to do a bit of assistant coaching in the professional environment. However, I'm at a stage in my life now where I've got a family, I've got a mortgage to pay. With football, no disrespect to football, it's not safe.
Yeah. So
I mean, your job's not safe. So why would I put myself now as a 47-year-old going forward in life, getting older and older,
living in another country
pressure.
like Australia with lots of sun and everything else. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it's tough one, that, Mark. Yeah. I could see that, Lloyd. Yeah.
You know, so why would I want to put myself under pressure, getting a coaching job, and then all of a sudden the gaffer ain't doing so well, so he gets sacked after 5 games or whatever, then you're part of his backroom staff and you get sacked as well, then you're searching for the next game. I just don't need to put myself under that kind of pressure. So I'm quite content with what I'm doing. I'm still involved with football at the school as well, and obviously outside of school a lot. I do a bit of consultancy work, and I move a couple of young players if they want to go to England, and I'm connecting with people. So I'm still involved in the game. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way everything's going.
And Lloyd, you mentioned about timing and injuries. You had a few injuries in your career, and you know, on a kind of negative thing, you did play for Ghana. You made a few appearances for Ghana, and you had a chance to play for Ghana at the World Cup, but you got injured, I think, didn't you?
Yeah.
But go on, sorry.
Yeah, and like going back to John's question, I think that was another reason why maybe I honestly feel like, because that year when I was playing for Reading in 2006, I was on absolute fire before that injury. So I knew I had the opportunity to go to the World Cup. I played in a couple of games prior to it. The coach even pulled me and said the way I was playing, I would have been in the squad. And I believe if I'd been just in the Ghana squad for that World Cup in 2006, I think that automatically would have got me a move to somewhere else, like a bigger championship club or Premiership. And I put my hand on my heart, I honestly believe that would have happened. So I would have been involved in an international, a World Cup. That I was just on fire that season. I was just playing so well, scoring goals, creating plays for the team. I was playing some beautiful football. But then unfortunately, the injury struck me with a groin, and it just wasn't right then. But luckily, look, I had the opportunity. I went out to Germany, watched a couple of games with the team, which was nice. But yeah, I was gutted. So that's a bit of a regret, but unfortunate thing that happened to me.
And like you say, you know, in terms of sliding doors moments, who knows what would have happened if you'd have played for Ghana, maybe scored in the World Cup, and then that might have opened doors. But you look at, you know, even a lot of those Reading players that played in the Premier League, they never played for the country. I think the only one at that time, all the seasons, the 3 seasons that Reading played in the Premier League, there was only one of those players played for England, for example, Nicky Shorey. A lot of the players didn't play for international teams. So when you look back, you know what you achieved, what you did achieve, because let's face it, there's lots of us out there who would have loved to have played professional football to do football for a job, who, you know, never had a chance, me included.
Yeah.
But when you look back, do you think, you know, actually you're happy about what you did achieve in the game, and you're happy with the way that your life's gone since and all that stuff?
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, every kid's dream as a kid, you know what I mean? What do you want to win? A lot of things, like when you're at school, what do you want to be? The majority of kids will say, I want to be a footballer. And luckily for myself, I achieved that. So I can't turn around and say, oh, this and that, and blah, blah. I've just got to be proud of what I've done, proud of what I've achieved. And I'm really happy, really content.
And just make sure you don't get injured before the game with Ronaldinho.
Oh, without a doubt. So, I mean, to be look, and the thing is, I've got to watch myself, because I've actually sort of officially retired because of my knees.
Yeah.
My knees have done wear and tear over the years. So I'm working on it to strengthen it. I'm not going to be like raging around like I was when I was 25 or so. But it's just going to be more. It's still going to be a competitive game. Don't get me wrong, because you know what I mean, all these ex-pros are all going to want to win. So yeah, I'll give it a good go. But like, I'm conditioning my body now as we speak. I've been training nearly every day just to get the body right and just get some fitness in and just get some sharpness, the best amount of sharpness I can get. Also, I'm a bit heavier now, so you know, I mean, you can't move as
Aren't we
quickly as
all?
before.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to get into the best shape I can for the game.
And just wanted to sort of bring it back to the current situation with Reading. I think generally speaking, especially considering the circumstances, it's going all right on the pitch. You know, we're happy with the manager. You know, we've got a decent team in League One. Obviously, it's not where we want to be. But all the off the field stuff. I mean, how much of that do you know, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't really dwelled into too much of stuff. Have you got a transfer embargo now? Is there?
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one.
Yeah, another one.
And another one. And another one.
Yeah, so hopefully as much as the youth, I mean, you want to draw from your youth, hopefully it's going to be tough for the youngsters. If they can't sign anyone and the youngsters coming through the club, they're good enough. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough for them. But look, I wish them all the best. I mean, it's a fantastic club. It's a fantastic club, you know. Still great facilities, a great location. It's just a good family community club, you know. So I just hope that they can hopefully get back to strength and start getting themselves back up the table, back to the championship, and obviously where they want to end up is the promised land. So look, I always have faith. So I hope whoever's coming to take over, etc., will come in with some good resources, some good finances, and really help the club get back up the ladder.
And Lloyd, just in terms of what you spoke about earlier, you said you've been at clubs where there are off the field problems, and you mentioned even to the extent where, you know, players are not getting paid on time, etc. How does that affect you and the other players in the team? And does that kind of have a negative impact on the team in terms of performances, results? Is that how it goes, or you just try and focus on doing the best you can?
You try and focus, do the best you can for the team collectively. But you know what I mean? If you're not, like I say, we've all got livelihoods, we've all got families in the past and mortgages to pay, and if you're not getting paid, it's hard going, especially mentally. Luckily, I guess when you look at it, not luckily, back in our days, all that mental health stuff wasn't really discussed about. So really, if you look at it, if you flip it now and flip what we know now, 20 years ago, there would have been many of us struggling, you know. But obviously, it was frowned upon. But it does affect you as players and as a team. But the teams I was involved when things like that were happening, we had, like I said, I had good managers who really just try and draw the boys together. Just, you know, what I mean, you know, boys, just try and focus. We've got to do what we've got to do. And a lot of the clubs, and especially for myself, though, I was put as much as that kind of stuff happens. For me, it's all about the fans. So I would always die for the fans and pay my hardest, put my, you know what I mean, my heart on my sleeve for the fans and work hard, regardless of what I was going through in the background. That's one thing I can look at my career and say, you know what? Every club I've been to, for realistic, and I'm not even bragging on it. I think every club I've been to, I've had a great association and a great affection with the fans. Because I think, although I was never one of the greatest, like, skillfulest players, but I think they always knew that Owusu would always work hard in games, score goals when he can, and I think that's what fans, especially no matter what, even if results are going bad to a certain degree, they see a certain player or players working hard, they love that. They love that.
And we've talked about that, Johnny, haven't we? That, you know, part of the criticism we've had of some of the performances, some of the players, is that we haven't seen that. I think it's, you know, generally speaking, we think the team and the players are putting the effort in, and a lot of credit has to go to Ruben Sellers for that. But I think Lloyd's absolutely right. That's what we want from players, you know. Obviously, we love a goal scorer, but also we want players who are putting the effort in and have got that resilience. And even when it's not going well, you want to see that from the team, and we want to see that as Reading fans. All fans want to see that, don't they?
We do, but I think you know, in the circumstances that we got now, like Lloyd touched on the mental health thing. I mean, you know me about mental health. Like, this club has been in the biggest crisis for the last few years. Like, Lloyd, when he played for us, and you know, we were in a better headspace as a club. I think that's the best way to describe it. At the minute, it's absolutely dire, and there's more stuff coming out about the current owner, and it's toxic and it's horrible. And like you say, Lloyd, you know, we all have jobs in life. In your job as a footballer, you know, you have to pay bills, you have to work, and you have to do your stuff, and you have to pay your mortgage, you have to do whatever. And the guys that have been playing for us for the last couple of years have been under this horrendous, horrible pressure that no one understands. And like, you know, everyone, you know, talks about the Premier League and all about all the other stuff. Like, it's toxic and it's so sad because that's your livelihood. You've earned your career as a footballer. You went through the steps, and all the guys that are playing at Reading at the minute are doing the same thing. You know, they want to play professional football, and that's brilliant. You know, like it's so hard to watch, isn't it?
And Lloyd, just following on from what Johnny said there, you know, the position the club's in, we've had quite a lot of positive messages coming out from the players. One of them's come out and said, yeah, he wants to stay at Reading for the rest of his career, I think, wasn't it, Johnny? But I can't remember which.
Yeah, Lewis Wing, and people love the club. People love the fans and the supporters. You know, Lloyd, like, you know, we're very loyal, we're very caring, we're very kind, and we give a monkeys about the team. You know, that's what we do because we believe in everyone that plays for the club. Like, you know, it's a special bond.
And Lloyd, a question to ask you. Let's say you've touched on it, that you've been through situations a bit like that. Obviously not as extreme, but let's say, for example, what happened with Reading recently. You know, people aren't getting paid. There's points deductions, and then after a year of waiting, we feel like, oh, we've actually got a new owner coming in, and then the owner pulls out. And then there's all these stories coming out about, oh, it's going to be difficult to sell the club because there's a loan against the stadium and all this sort of thing. What are you thinking as a player or a manager? Because Ruben Sellers, the manager, has said he's fed up with it. It's unsustainable. What are you thinking as a player? Are you torn between, you're going to just do your best, or are you thinking, I better look for another club? When there's that much, you know, negativity, what are you thinking? What's going through your head?
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself in life. When if things are looking really dour and looking really dire and not looking like they're going, looking like there's going to be a real outcome. Look, I think you have to look out for the next one. At the end of the day, like I said, you've got to get paid. So if things aren't happening at the club that you're at and it's looking negative, you've got to look for a positive outcome for yourself. So I would say a majority of players be thinking, you know what, depends how long they've got on their contracts, whatever. They'll be speaking to their agents, their advisors, and say, look, obviously we can potentially to get somewhere with a club where there's stability. So I know I can go somewhere without having to worry. Again, it'll affect your game, it'll affect your performance. And the longer it goes on, you're going to be less of a cash commodity to another club going forward. So I think I would honestly say a lot of the players will probably be thinking like, yeah, we need to be looking elsewhere.
And Johnny, do you want to finish off with a final question or observation for Lloyd?
Yeah, I just think, you know, Lloyd, you've been in the game for a long time. You know, one of my big things is about mental health. I talk and probably bore the pants off people about it, but for your mental health journey as a player and an ex-player and where you are now, and guys that you've probably played with so many players and different things, the conversation from when you started your career to where you are now, what do you think needs to be done? It's kind of a weird question, but like, what do you think about the whole subject? Was it talked about when you were a player? You know?
Yeah, look, like I said, back in our day, and I'll sort of flip it to myself mentally. So I look at when I look back at my career now, and I look at my situation when I went to Sheffield Wednesday, for example. I've gone from playing for Little Brentford to Sheffield Wednesday, and automatically there's a big pressure because one, I'm leaving League One to go to the Championship from a team who's just been relegated from the Prem, who are a massive team, massive supporter base. And you probably remember the times when I ended up being in a position that I was puking up on the pitch. I used to puke up before games. That ended up being a tradition. But prior to that, it never happened.
Was that
before.
anxiety, Lloyd? Was it?
Correct. When I look at it now, Johnny, I would have not known. We didn't know about anxiety and that kind of thing back in them days. When you look at it now, with all the science that's gone on now, that I look back at that was anxiety, brother. You know what I mean?
Was that every game you did that?
No. So when I moved from Brentford to Sheffield Wednesday, straight away, or obviously like the massive club, it was just like boom. So there was something hit me, John. Something hit me in regards to look where I am, and it was just. I just automatically started just puking up. I used to puke up before the game, and I actually did it on the debut when I played against Sheffield United derby. I actually puked up on the pitch as well, and everyone was thinking, "Oh, what's wrong?" Everyone thought. I mean, even myself was thinking, "What was that? Was it my tonsillitis?" In the end, I ended up getting my tonsils taken out. I was to go to an ENT specialist. So they want to try and find out why. That's just not a normal thing to do, just to puke up. And then when you look at it now, and the way, like I said, science has developed, evolved. That was down to anxiety, pressures.
And what did your teammates say to you, like at the time, like, or your manager? Who was your manager?
Most would at first a lot would when it sort of first happened, they sort of thought weird, but they would like sort of laugh about it, like one, you know what I mean? But then after the fact, after the years, it's become such a habit that I just used to just do it, just to sort of release myself. But then when I actually started to do it before the kickoff, I would actually feel 10 times better. It was like there was a weight taken off my shoulder, John. It was weird, and like, yeah. So like I said, when you look back now, that was down to anxiety, pressures, and again, luckily nowadays people can talk. You know what I mean? People can actually talk openly and say to someone, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling depressed, etc., etc. Where back in our days,
that's huge, Lloyd. Thank you, man. That's really good on.
Yeah, and like I said, back in our day, if you did try and talk about, people looking, like I said, they laugh like, talking about it. Talk about you, there's something wrong with you. Just get on with it. You know what I mean? Where now, it's so good that youngsters, or even doesn't matter about youngsters, even adults can actually be their support systems in place to help players. Where back in our days, it just wasn't none and void. It just wasn't around.
Did you get over that, Lloyd? Like when you carried on playing for Sheffield Wednesday,
did
it decrease and you felt better, or was it just?
Yeah, it got better. Like I said, in the end, it became more of a habit.
Okay.
So even after I left Sheffield Wednesday, I went to Reading, and when I came to Reading, I didn't feel pressure. And I think that's probably maybe because I was in an environment where I knew everyone really well, spoke to home as well. So I knew everyone. Cox was like a father. Great teammates, did well, Glenn and all that lot. Just knew great guys. But I would just do it now.
You're in your comfort zone, kind of thing.
And just did it automatically. Yeah.
You know, well, Lloyd,
thank you, Lloyd. That's huge, man. That really is an eye opener.
Yeah, Lloyd, thanks ever so much for joining us and sharing that with us. You know, really interesting to hear you reminiscing about your time at Reading and in football, and you know, keep yourself well for that game with Ronaldinho, and let us know how you get on.
Definitely.